Good afternoon. Welcome to Jazz Vespers. My name is Craig Updegrove. On behalf of the First Presbyterian Church, I'd like to welcome you here. We're really delighted to offer this concert series to you and in this beautiful venue and presenting world-class jazz artistry to uplift your spirit and nourish your soul. If you're new to Jazz Vespers, there is references in your program to our Facebook page. It's a good way to stay in touch. There's also a link there for the our YouTube playlist where we have several videos from past Jazz Vespers over the last 10 years. Format today is for 2 sets of music. We'll have a short message in the middle there. We're delighted to have a special guest, Joel Drenckpohl, who is the director of Porch, which is an inclusive community for Cal Poly and Cuesta students over there by the Cal Poly campus. They have a coffee house model, free coffee, and it brings in people in a very accepting environment. It's always great to have Joel here. He's got wonderful things to say. I always enjoy listening to him. After our concert, please join us over across the way there for a reception. We'll have some wine and cheese and cookies and crackers and fruit, good conversation. Our guest artist, Bill Cunliffe, will be coming over there. You can visit with him there and would request that you wait to visit with him until you come over to the reception. He does have some CDs for sale that are excellent. I actually really recommend, there's a Christmas album over there. It's my favorite Christmas CD of about 200 jazz Christmas CDs that I have. We thank you so much for your donations. There's no set amount, but these concerts are totally funded by your donations. And anything you put in those donation boxes comes just to the Jazz Vespers program. So we appreciate that. Thank you for your generosity. They'll be there on your way out if you missed it on the way in. If you want to write a check, you can just make that out to the First Presbyterian Church, and all of those proceeds will come to the Jazz Vespers program. Also in your program, you'll see the next event will be on April 6th. It's going to be an all Duke Ellington program. It's really a fascinating program that is going to present music from the sacred concerts of Duke Ellington. Duke Ellington did a series of 3 sacred concerts, the first in Grace Cathedral, San Francisco in 1965, followed up in 1968 at the Cathedral of St. John the Divine in New York City, and then in 1973, Westminster Abbey. Those are fairly decent venues to play in. But Duke Ellington called those concerts the most important thing that he's ever done. The jazz critic Gary Giddens described these concerts as bringing the Cotton Club Review to the church. So this will include some musicians that are coming over from Fresno, some of whom you've heard before: Rich Severson on guitar, Gary Newmark on drums. There will be a vocalist involved. So it's a quartet and a vocalist, all Duke Ellington music. So that should be very interesting. Today, we're thrilled to have, for our 3rd visit at the Jazz Vespers, the extraordinary pianist Bill Cunliffe. He comes up from Los Angeles. I know that several of you in the audience heard him last night with the legendary tenor saxophonist Ernie Watts. It was terrific, and thank you for coming back today for double dipping, but you know what you're getting, so it's a great opportunity to hear Bill Cunliffe again. I could spend a long time telling you about Bill Cunliffe's resume, sorry. He was telling me about some of his recipes earlier. I mean, his resume, it's so extensive. I mean, it's easily longer than the receipt you get at CVS. He's a Grammy Award winner. He's had Emmy nominations, played with Frank Sinatra, Freddie Hubbard, James Moody. The list goes on and on. I can safely say that Bill Cunliffe is one of the best jazz pianists that you will ever hear. Please welcome back to Jazz Vespers, Bill Cunliffe.
Thanks very much. Sorry. I Love You by Cole Porter. And of course, we're doing a bit of Valentine's Day type music today. Cole Porter was amazing. I think back in the day, you could live in a hotel, right? Imagine that, right? And he lived in a hotel in New York, one of the good ones, before it was $800 a night. And his piano they would have his piano there, and you're not supposed to play it, you're just supposed to look at it. It had ropes and everything around it. And it was a brown Steinway, and it looked good. It looked good. He was, it's very interesting with the TVs and everything. What I'm noticing, of course, is that just like the President of the United States, my hair is going entirely gray. He's not doing the red thing anymore. I'm thinking of not doing the dyeing thing anymore. And my brand new girlfriend, who I just met like 3-4 weeks ago, she's thinking about doing the same thing. So I don't know, maybe it's a trend. Embrace your gray or something. But as a boomer, I think I got old at precisely the correct time in the history of the United States. Because the newspaper, the New York Times, is 40% about how to stay young, the articles, about what to eat, how to wear your hair, how to keep your mind going. It's really quite a thing. This is now way down. Is that okay? You still hear me all right? Okay. So I'm like watching my posture because I noticed, and this is something, I'm going to turn this into kind of a wellness thing. You should sit always with a string pulling your head up gently and your shoulders back gently. And I noticed when there's a teacher at Cal State Fullerton where I'm a professor. One of my co-professors is very much into piano performance practice and wellness, and because kids, 19, 20-year-old kids, they all have problems with their bodies already. I have carpal tunnel or tendonitis in both thumbs. You know why, right? From the phone. So I had a big phone, and now I got a little phone, and it's better. But now I have to use Siri all the time. Siri is great because I'll write a perfectly composed email, and I'll send it off, and at exactly the time I send it off, the thing will autocorrect to the wrong thing. My new girlfriend's name is Hillary, and I wrote Hill because she likes to be called Hill, and of course it changed to Hell just as I sent it out. Oh God! And then I had to write another email, but she loves to laugh, so thank goodness. Oh my God! All right. Classical music went through a real period of hyper-romanticism in the early 20th century. There's the Germanic style with Wagner and Strauss, and there's the French type, which is very delicate, and we don't really tell you everything, we just hint at it, like Ravel and Debussy. And then we have the Russians, and those are my favorites. This is something by Sergei Rachmaninoff, the Adagio from the Second Symphony. Not all of it. I know we have other things to get to this time, but it's just a little encapsulation of it. great song. I used to, when I was first starting to learn how to play, my dad and I would go to the Company Plaza Hotel in Boston. And of course, the first time we went, it was sort of an issue because I didn't bring a jacket. You had to wear a jacket. They had one, size 46. And it smelled terrible. But I had to put on this jacket and go in and hear the great Dave McKenna, the greatest jazz pianist no one's ever heard of. He didn't really travel a whole lot, and he just had this great style, and all he cared about was the Red Sox and people, and Casey Jones, the basketball coach for the Boston Celtics. So they would all come in and he would hang with them, and that's all he talked about. He never talked about music. He was a complete Boston original. And I learned that tune from him. It's a tune by Jerome Kern called Nobody Else But Me. I think it's one of the last tunes he ever wrote. The lyrics are really interesting. I'm not too bright, you're not very bright, but that's okay with me. It's an interesting lyric. It's great. And you know, Buddy Rich was always who I worked with for a year and a half. He would always say, you know, Cunliffe, you gotta know the lyric of the song, you know. Sophisticated lady, smoking, drinking, some chick at a restaurant, whatever the hell it is. So lyrics are important, but it's not my strength. I have to work at it. But Nobody Else But Me, Jerome Kern, right, one of his very last tunes. In keeping with the love theme, this will be my last tune of this set. And it's a tune by Antonio Carlos Jobim, who is the king of Brazilian, South American love songs. And it's called Luisa. I had to throw in kind of my favorite song of his, Wave, because I haven't played it in about 4 or 5 years, and I forgot some of the chords I needed to kind of get it back together. So thanks for letting me practice in front of you. All right, so we're going to move on to the homily, and thank you so much for listening. It's been great playing for you, and I'll be right back.
Thank you so much, Bill. That was beautiful. Again, as Craig said earlier, my name is Joel Drenckpohl. For the past 12 years, I have had the privilege of running a nonprofit up near Cal Poly that works with Cal Poly students. It's a community building organization. And this is the third time that I have gotten to do this here. So, Craig, thank you for asking me. It's a pleasure and privilege to be here. A little while back, Craig asked me to share some thoughts on love for this occasion, being that Friday was Valentine's Day. And love can be such a broad idea, can it? Such an ambiguous idea. What does it mean that we love or loved someone, or that we were loved by someone else? It's honestly an idea that's a little intimidating to talk about. What profound thing can I offer you all about an idea that has probably been talked about more than any other idea in the history of human existence? In our culture, we like to possess things and control things a lot. So then I think this leads to our ideas of love revolving around something we believe that we can possess, that we can do with what we like. In a lot of ways within our thinking, I think love becomes a possession that we can give or we can withhold. So I started thinking about recent experiences in my own life that I would call love, and I wanted to share a few of them with you. A few weeks ago, I was up in Seattle, and I was sitting at breakfast with my parents, and my mom began reflecting with me on one of her other sons, Jeremy, one of my older brothers, who died when he was 17 years old, 32 years ago. And she was talking about memories of his life and who he was and what he meant to her, and she clearly still felt connected to him, as though he were still a part of our family. This past week, Christy, who I am married to, stayed up late into the evening helping our youngest son, who is 14, make a beaded bracelet for a person who he has had a crush on for the past year, while simultaneously FaceTiming our 19-year-old daughter who is down at UCSB because she also wanted to be a part of this moment. Last weekend, I saw my 17-year-old son walk into a hospital room of the critical care unit with his arm wrapped around his lifelong friend of the same age who was sobbing as she prepared to say goodbye to her grandpa for the last time. Every day that I get home from work, I open our front door, and before I can even get in the house, our Australian Shepherd, Willow, with one brown eye and one blue eye, is wiggling her entire body, her little nub of a tail wagging frantically back and forth until I get down on my knees and I wrap both my arms around her body as she leans hers into mine and just wants me to hold her until I decide I have more important things to attend to. My friend and coworker recently had a baby who I got to hold the other day, and in that moment, it seemed as though nothing else mattered. On our way home from Los Angeles recently, our family, minus our oldest, again, she's at UCSB, stopped by the house of a dear friend in the hills of Santa Barbara who recently passed away unexpectedly. And as we neared the home, the sun was setting over the Pacific Ocean, providing this beautiful backdrop to Santa Barbara. And we pulled into the driveway, and under this massive oak tree, I saw his beloved old burgundy Mercedes that I had been in so many times with him before. And then as I got out of the car, his dog Lucky ran up to me. And I almost expected to see my friend come out of that house. But the woman who he has been married to for years came out to greet us and invited us into their home. This past week, I was sitting on the couch watching a hockey game that I was not super invested in, as I am not really a hockey person. Christy and our oldest son were also in the room, and I overheard our youngest son in the back of the house talking on the phone to someone. I asked if either of them knew who he was talking to, and our 17-year-old told me that he was FaceTiming our daughter who was away at college. I've never moved so quickly. I jumped up from the couch and literally ran to the back of our house just so that I could see her face for a moment and say hello. Our 17-year-old came home from a baseball practice the other night and told Christy and I while he was at the gas station that a woman had asked him for $20 to get some gas, and he gave it to her. And then he followed that with asking us if we thought the woman really needed it for gas. And my wife told him that it didn't matter. I work in a place every day where I see hundreds of 18 to 22-year-olds meet each other for the first time, and oftentimes within minutes, they are laughing or crying with people that they had not known moments before, both eager to celebrate one another as well as grieve with one another. The night before all the rain began to fall last week, it was 9 o'clock, and I was racing to get a tree planted with the area lit by a lantern. I have always felt drawn to trees and to the earth. I dug a large hole, getting down on my hands and knees as the hole got so deep, and removed the final bit of dirt with my bare hands, feeling it fall through my fingers. And when it came time to remove the root ball of the tree from the plastic container, I was having a bit of trouble, starting to get quite frustrated. At this exact same time, my neighbor Ken, who lives a few houses up, and his deaf dog Licorice were passing by on their evening walk. They both saw me struggling, walked up the driveway, and helped me get the tree planted for the next 15 minutes. Licorice laid beside us watching, but not hearing, his beloved owner tell me about the recent death of his father. Today, for one reason or another, we all decided to come here to listen to Bill play these isolated sounds called notes on this piano, which he beautifully strings together into jazz music, which has so many benefits to us as human beings. One being how collectively listening to music releases neurochemicals in our brains, many of which can contribute to us feeling a closeness or connection to others sharing in that same experience. What is this thing that we call love? The idea so often gets embedded in a framework or culture or societal structure, which leads to narrow understandings of love. Definitions that don't quite seem to do justice for what we are actually experiencing. We experience something that seems to transcend time and death and age and distance and language and senses and culture and species. So what if love wasn't something that we could possess? What if instead it was a reality that all of existence was saturated with? People, birds, dogs, cats, flowers, trees, mountains, oceans, rivers, streams, grass, dirt, even spaces that we enter, whether natural or made by the hands of humans, homes, coffee shops, businesses, places of worship. What if love was this thing, this energy that was flowing throughout the universe, trying to connect all that exists? We thirst for connection. It is the thing that is right below the surface of every moment, every interaction, every space. We are biologically wired to be connected to other living things and to the earth in a similar way to our biological need for food. When we are depraved of either, there is a craving that is triggered within our brains. What if that craving for connection we have is the undercurrent of love, flowing throughout the existence, constantly inviting, beckoning us all to connect with all that is? There are times we feel the division between us and everything else. Our culture, now more so than ever, is set up to constantly divide us, to deprave us of the thing that we long for most. And there are also times we feel connected, one with everything else. And the difference between the two is so apparent to us because we feel both deeply within ourselves. Every week I tell the community that I have the privilege of cultivating. Our world desperately needs more connection. We need more love. people are longing to be seen, longing to be heard, to be known, to experience empathy, to have someone to grieve with, to have someone to share joy with. There are constant invitations to us all to participate in this thing called love, that it is all around us. We just have to give into it, to allow it to wash over us, to see how easily we can be a part of it and to help more of it to happen in our little corners of the universe. As I am writing this, Willow jumped up onto our couch, curled up next to me, her body leaning into mine, laid her head on my lap between my laptop and my chest, and began to lick my hand as I typed. If only we were as good as Willow at giving into the connection so freely.
That was really beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for that. It makes me think more and more about the idea of connection. And connection may not be love, but it's definitely a part of it. And certainly during the pandemic, we all remember that for whatever reason, and I'm not here at all to discuss whether they were good reasons or not, we were separated from each other, and it hurt us. And there's a lot of literature now about how being separate from others is damaging for our health. And of course, America being a capitalist society, we've had these articles in the New York Times about the superannuated folks in Sardinia, Italy. And of course, it's because of the moderate drinking of red wine and the quality of the food and the purity of the water that comes from the stream. Those are the reasons those people live to be 100. And I say no, that's not why they're there. The reason they're there is because they see each other and are connected to each other. And that's why they live a long time, because they know that someone will miss them if they don't see them on the street. And there's a fellow named Michael Smerconish, and he has a thing called the Mingle Project. And he's on CNN, and he's on the POTUS channel if you get Sirius XM radio. And he suggested to people that they set up little meetings of people across the country, and it wasn't political. His whole thing is stuck in the middle with you. He's a centrist. But it wasn't about politics. It was about people just getting together. And this thing has been wildly successful. And I went to one, about my first one I went to, there was a beautiful woman there. And I was like, wow, this is really great. And I'm recently divorced, and I'm on good terms with my ex-wife, but it's been a hard few years. But I saw this woman again 2 weeks later, and I had to go for it. I asked for the phone number, and she gave it to me. And we've been dating for a month, and I'm over the moon. And I don't really know what this thing is called love, but connection is a big part of it. So Cole Porter again. He knew about it somehow, or he had a gig that he had to write about it. And maybe it doesn't matter that much. What is this thing called love? Cole Porter. I'm sure that even though maybe this was just an assignment for him, when you do something like that, it changes you a little bit. If you venture into something profound with whatever you're doing, it makes you think about that. And so every little situation, like I'm running into dogs all the time, and they all look at me, and they all want me to take them home. It seems like to me anyway. I'm just projecting really, right? But yeah. Is it true that the dog is the only species of animal that loves us more than it seems to like itself? And I have been told that that's a little piece of evidence from God that he's there and he loves us. I like that. I think about it. It may be true, it may not be true, but it makes me feel good, and I'm just going to take it. Okay, let's Craig really wanted me to do this next it's kind of a parlor trick, but it could be fun. I'm going to take some requests from you, and I'm going to create a brand new piece of music, you using all of those requests that's never been done before, and may never be done again. So I'm going to have you guys pick a jazz tune, a piece of classical music, and a piece of rock music, something from the last 50, 60 years. Hopefully something with a melody. I don't really know very many Kendrick Lamar tunes, so I kind of can't go there. But there's some ground rules. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have you guys suggest some tunes, and then we're going to vote with our applause, because I think in America the popular vote should win. So that joke was funnier 4 years ago. So we're going to, actually funnier 21 years ago, for those of you who remember. All right, so let's go ahead and pick out a jazz standard Great American Songbook tune. Yeah.
Skylark.
Skylark, beautiful. Hoagie Carmichael's, great tune. And I'm going to kind of control this a little bit by saying it has to be something that people know. I mean, some guy's going to say, oh, the Adagio from the Bruckner 7th Symphony, which of course I know, but we got to get out of here in an hour. Okay, Skylark, any other ones?
Girl from Ipanema.
Girl from Ipanema, great, great song. Yeah, that's a great one. One more. Yes, sir.
Begin the begin.
Begin the begin, Cole Porter. Wow, it's a real Cole Porter day. All right, so we'll vote with our applause. Begin the begin. Skylark. And Girl from Ipanema. All right. Girl from Ipanema. Very good. All right. Now let's do a piece of classical music that might be well known by someone besides yourself. Anyone think of any? Claire de Lune, always a perennial hit. Claude Debussy. Yeah, okay. Minute Waltz. I think I have enough time. Yeah. All right, Minute Waltz.
Rhapsody in Blue.
I'm sorry?
Rhapsody in Blue.
Okay, good, good. All right, these are three real good ones. All right, so we'll vote on those. Vote with your applause. Claire de Lune. Minute Waltz. Rhapsody in Blue. Good, all right. Girl from Ipanema and Rhapsody in Blue. And now we have to pick a pop song that people might know. Anyone think one? Yes.
Let It Be.
Let It Be, that's a good one. I heard Layla over here. That's a really good one. Excellent choices. What, ma'am? Imagine. Great. Okay, we got three really good ones. This is good. This is good. You're a good audience. All right, so let's vote. Imagine. Was it Let It Be? Was that what it was? Yeah, Let It Be. And Layla. I think it was Layla. You guys? I'm not sure. Well, I don't know. I think we need to recount the swing states on this. Let's try it again. Now we know that those are the three choices. Let's try it again. Imagine. Let it be. Layla. Okay, life and politics. This is like the Supreme Court. Right? We're going to vote 65 more times today until we get Mike Johnson, whoever it is. All right, so it's between. All right, imagine. Layla. It's a tie. It's a tie. All right, you guys paid a lot to get in here. We'll do both of them. All right. Imagine, Layla, Rhapsody in Blue, and what the heck was yelling? Oh, Girl from Ipanema. Okay. All right. Hopefully I can remember these. Okay, don't fuck that up. That could ruin my career. Yes, sir. All right, so my new girlfriend, her favorite musical is Guys and Dolls. And there are two beautiful love songs in there. And no one does them the way they should be done. The first one is My Time of Day is the Nighttime. And no one does it, it's hard. And then the other one is I've Never Been in Love Before. And those are a medley. But I love Oscar Peterson, but he does it. I've never been in love. That's not what the song is about. You know, it's like Mel Torme, he does. Isn't it rich? He's singing the clowns with like a walking bass line. It's got nothing to do with the song. But that's okay. That's an artist's ability. They can do what they want. But I'm going to do these songs the way I think they should be done. So it's a medley from Guys and Dolls. My time of day is my kind of day is the nighttime, and followed by I've never been in love before. Thank you. I need to take more of those pills I saw on TV to provide more mind-body connection. All a waste of money, by the way. Don't do Presbyterian, right? That's a complete rip-off. Walk a couple of miles, eat a lot of veggies, and have fun, and hang out with people, and you'll be okay. And see your doctor. You guys have been great. I really enjoyed playing for you. Thank you and have a great rest of your day.